I'm 35 and the mother to a 19-year-old girl. I had my daughter very young and I don't regret it, but I would never encourage it due to how hard it was. I had little to no support and I would never wish the pain I went through on anyone. My daughter's father passed when I was pregnant and she has no stepfather. It has always just been the two of us. I was kicked out of my home the second my family found out that I was pregnant, no questions asked, and we haven't been in contact since then. I've since moved halfway across the country, and I will not ever be reconciling. Now we live in a state where abortion is legal. My daughter has been dating her boyfriend for roughly 4 years now. Her boyfriend is the same age as her and not a bad kid, but he is still a child in my eyes. They both are. Her boyfriend still lives with his parents and refuses to go to college. My daughter wanted to be a nurse but is now deciding that she won't pursue a career because she wants to be a Zam forever. She would have been going to school this fall, but decided to unenroll before it began. When my daughter came to me 2 weeks ago telling me that she's 2 months pregnant, I sat her down. I did not want her to go through the same things I went through. I asked her how this happened and she said that it was planned. She and her boyfriend mutually decided that they wanted to be parents, and this horrified me because she knows all about the struggle we went through together and that I went through alone. I regretfully called her stupid and was upset, but told her that we can work through this together. Since she decided that she was keeping this baby, I gave her stricter rules, told her how it works, told her what's going to change, and that she will be getting an education under my roof. These terms are non-negotiable. My daughter did not like these terms. She fully expected me to allow her boyfriend to move in, who is unemployed, by the way, give her college fund as money to spend on the baby, the two of them as a couple, and whatever else she wants, not pursue an education, and still go out whenever she wanted. I told her that I will watch her baby when she's at school and for a few hours a day when she does homework. I also said that I will watch her baby on Saturdays and Saturdays alone so that she can still have fun and be somewhat of a teenager. I wish that I was given 1 day out of the week to recharge, take a break from being a mom, and enjoy my childhood. I know that this is very lenient, but I love my daughter. We ended up arguing almost every day since, and my daughter's demands have gotten out of hand. She claims that they're very unfair, and I told her to look up what teen pregnancy is like and what motherhood is all about because the conditions and rules that I gave her are very, very lax. I told her that if she will not abide by these rules, then she'll have to live with her boyfriend's family. She cried and yelled at me, but I put my foot down. She ended up moving out 3 days ago. We've never had a fight like this. We've argued about petty things such as sleepovers and parties, but it was always resolved within a few hours and was never serious like this. I've texted her multiple times that if she changes her mind on the pregnancy or the rules, then she's more than welcome back home and that I will always love her no matter what she chooses. I also told her that she'll always be my baby girl and that I didn't want her to go, but we have no space for a full family and being a mother means that your entire life will change. My heart aches. I love my daughter and feel like I failed her as a mother despite being so involved. She knows all about safe sex, was never bullied, we were basically best friends, though I am still her mother and she has always known that. It isn't just fun. I do discipline her when I have to, and we get along amazingly, and we do everything together. I never thought this would happen. She had no better reason to get pregnant than I wanted to be a mom, and I'm ready, but she isn't thinking about what a mother actually does. I know I made single motherhood look easy, but it never was. I worked 2-3 jobs for the majority of my life and didn't eat some days so that my daughter never went hungry and always had nice clothes. I only finally got a real job as a nurse 2 years ago after being in and out of school for over a decade. I thought that this was the best thing to do to teach her that things will be changing. I want her to come home, I really do, but if she won't accept these new rules and understand that motherhood is not easy, I can't just let her back in willingly. I feel like such a hole. Comment 1. NTA. She demonstrated that she doesn't have the maturity needed to be a parent. For example, she assumed she would have her college money to blow away, but had clearly given no thought to what will happen once the money runs out. It's unrealistic to expect you to support her and her unemployed boyfriend indefinitely. And what about paying for her baby's future education? It's hard to get a well-paying job with only a high school education. Your rules are very generous and much more supportive than many others I've seen. Comment 2. I strongly feel that parenting a young adult is about making sure they don't wind up a couch potato. I think your daughter thought you would pick up all her slack and carry the weight of her pregnancy and child. You were right to set fair boundaries and not let her make bad decisions on your watch. You can't control her from here. Someday soon she's going to realize that what you offered was a really sweet deal. Just keep that deal open to her. NTA. Comment 3. I'm gonna say NTA. She wants to be a Zam with a BF who doesn't have a job. Sounds like she fully expected you to cover the majority of the child raising while her life didn't change. You didn't kick her out, she chose to not go with the requirements you gave for staying at your house. You gave her options. She chose what she thinks is going to be the easier route. She needs a reality check. My fiancé Ali 31F is the type of person that calls people 2 or 3 times in a row when she wants to get a hold of them for anything. The first time she did this to my parents, we were driving to a concert and I asked her to call my folks from my phone. She called, they didn't pick up. She started calling my mom again right away and I asked what she was doing. My mom picked up right away worried. Ali asked our question, I told mom false alarm, hung up. She asked why my mom had been irritated and I explained to her in my family, we only call twice in a row if it's an emergency. Ali has never followed this and will always call them repeatedly for the most mundane stuff. If one doesn't answer, she'll sometimes call my other parent. All that to say, a couple of weeks ago she broke her leg while working around the house. I was in a workshop for work that day and could only check my phone on breaks. She called my parents since they live a couple streets over but neither answered their phones. She wound up having to call an ambulance. I got her message about 2 hours after she fell and went to the hospital. She was pretty mad at my parents when I got there. I let them know what happened and they also rushed to the hospital to apologize and check on her. She didn't want them coming in, so they sat outside for a bit, got her flowers from the gift shop and eventually went home. I took some time off work to take care of her and my parents have been offering help as they could. Her sister drove in to help so I could go back to work. Last night I decided to make a nicer dinner than usual and wanted to invite my parents. I gave her a heads up I was inviting them and asked if she wanted me to rearrange some of the chairs and tables so we can all eat together. She got mad I wanted to invite them and is of the mind I shouldn't be wanting to see/speak with them after they ignored her. Her sister agrees with her and feels I'm putting my parents over my soon-to-be wife. Up until this point I haven't said anything to her about the situation, but I did then and told her it was a massive fuck-up in communication on everyone's part and time we all talk it out to put behind us. Neither she nor her sister think she should stop being mad at them. Was I an asshole to invite my parents over? Asked info. My parents were sitting outside for their quiet time when she called. It's not unusual for them to not answer calls/texts and wait to return them later when they do that. I myself had to do the 2 calls routine, so they knew it was urgent. Comment 1. NTA. You explained the communication norms in your family after the first time she double called. She didn't listen, and so your parents had no way to know it was an emergency instead of just another Tuesday. Your description of a massive miscommunication sounds accurate, and talking it through would be the next right move. Does she have an explanation for how they should have known, or is she assuming that when she wants to get a hold of someone they should drop everything and talk to her whether or not it's urgent? Because the latter isn't respecting other people's time and priorities. Comment 2. Her history with calling multiple times in a row is only relevant to this story as a window to her behavior. She has main character syndrome. They didn't pick up. How does that make them villains? She could have messaged, she could have kept calling, but it still doesn't make her anger appropriate. She called emergency assistance, which is who she should have called to begin with. I, 20F, have a sister, 16F, and 2 half-siblings from our mom's new marriage, 3M, and an infant sister. My mom insists on my help with the youngest siblings, constantly, without notice. She wants me to babysit, or feed them, or give them baths. Most of the time it's fine, but sometimes it's overboard. For context in my reactions, I have autism, high-functioning/Asperger's. The situation: today she asked me to give them baths, I did. It was hard because of my sensory issues and the fact they were both screaming bloody murder in my ear over wanting my mom to give them baths instead. It was okay though, I pushed through, got them dressed through the screaming. Then I left them in the living room with her and started to go back to my room. She asked if I could hold the baby a little longer. I did, but she was screaming and crying still, so it was hard. The only time she'd calm down was if my mom held her, and she didn't want to because she was getting ready to leave for an AA meeting. At this point I was extremely overstimulated. I was standing sort of rigid, but still holding the baby acceptably, I thought. She began to yell at me, saying I wasn't holding her with the right body language, and if I held her like I cared about her she wouldn't cry. I told her she's probably crying because she wants to be held by her mom, separation anxiety, because no matter how much I coddled her before, she still cried. This is a consistent thing that's happened since my sister started going to daycare. Maybe I am a bit rigid after being screamed at, but still I don't feel like my body language was the issue. My mom eventually got fed up and told me to put her in the feeding chair, so I did and started to walk back to my room. She then started to rant on about how she still needs my help with watching them longer and how I don't care about my brother and sister. She said she shouldn't have to ask for help. It didn't even occur to me that it was assumed for me to stick around and watch them because their father is home. All she asked was that I give them a bath, then hold the baby, and I did that. This escalated into an argument in which I told her that her children aren't my responsibility, especially not at 20 years old, and while I don't have a problem helping out sometimes, I'm not her employee and both can't, because of autism, and won't, because I wouldn't want to if I could, predict what she wants from me in order to wait on her hand and foot. I do live at home for free, so it could be entitled of me to be so averse to helping her with them. I do other things. I'm the only one in the house who cleans regularly, every other day, and that's easy for me as it doesn't involve any crazy variables and never changes. But I do not want to help with my siblings the amount she wants. Comment 1. NTA I would seriously look at finding a way to move out. Has your ASD been formally diagnosed and documented? If so, you should qualify for some disability resources. In my state, each county has an aging and disability resource center that we can call to find out what sort of services, funding, housing is available. They can also help you find out if you qualify for SSDI if you aren't able to work. Comment 2. NTA. Can you get out of the house a bit more, like to work, the library, or walk around the neighborhood? You aren't the parent and these kids aren't your obligation. I'd keep telling her that. There is nothing wrong with gently placing her children in front of her and walking away. Or place them in front of their father and walk away. OP comment. Usually I'm on my college campus, but since it's summer I've been walking 2+ hours daily to get out of there. I'm trying to find a job right now to keep me busy, but every place I apply to doesn't answer. I may have to just go in places and ask directly. I need an autist opinion to this. My wife and I have 2 kids that are both in daycare. My wife will take the morning shift, which includes getting the kids up, getting breakfast and to the daycare. I handle the night shift, which is getting the kids from daycare, doing dinner and starting to get them ready for bed. Usually she gets home around 6:30 to 7 and the whole family has like 30 minutes together before the kids' bedtime. We usually spend reading to them. She has to travel an hour plus, depends on traffic to work each way. So the kids are getting at daycare at 8 in the morning and I will pick them up around 4. I work from home and start around 7 and end around 3:30. The issue is around breakfast. We agreed that I would make dinner each night and she does breakfast. She already makes food for the kids, so it's literally just making an extra one of what she is already making. For the past month she will either not make it at all for me, not tell me that it is done. I have asked her to just give a general time, but she keeps switching up the schedule. One day they are eating at 7 in the morning and then getting dressed. Other days, she is giving them toast before getting into the car. I have talked to her multiple times and explained that it is not considerate. We got into an argument and she told me I am home, so just make my own food. I explained I may be home but I am doing my job. Yesterday she didn't make anything and I had enough. She came home and I didn't make her anything for dinner. When asked, I told her she is home and can make her own food. This started a huge argument and she called me a J. Edit: I have the kids more than her. She has them for an hour in the morning and I have them for 2 to 3 every night. Also, everyone's saying, don't know the stress of the morning shift. I have literally done it for 2 years. She is the one that wanted the morning shift because of her schedule. For everyone saying, have you asked what is wrong? Yes, she doesn't give an answer. Comment 1. I think a different arrangement needs to be made. Because if she has to get all the kids ready for daycare, cook them food, make it on time to the daycare and get to work on time, I am sorry but make your own breakfast, dude. She has a large commute, and I am sure a busy day at work. Everyone is busy, I know. But that is part of life with kids. She would have more time perhaps to get you breakfast if you helped wrangle the kids. I do not think it is unreasonable for you to help more with breakfast if you do not leave the house. Your comment to her was childish. Your wife is doing a lot just by the sound of this post. Maybe ask her how you can help instead of becoming an extra child. Comment 2. YTA. This tit for tat stuff is not a relationship. Also, yes, she's on a totally different time crunch in the morning, and traveling a long way to and from work. Long commutes are draining. You literally work from home. Yes, you are working and that's valid work. But don't pretend you can't take a moment to grab yourself breakfast, or food any time in the morning really. I don't know a single WFH person who has zero time to even eat something. That's absurd. Her days are extra long, don't become an extra child she has to care for.